Next, we'd like to recognize a true pioneer in the field of holistic wellness, someone who's dedicated her life to bridging the gap between science and spirituality. Thank you for being here, and please welcome Dr. Linda Salvin, MBH, PhD.
Dr. Linda Salvin. I am honored to be here. As I said earlier, I'm the keynote tonight, so you're going to hear this from me in a little bit. But to answer the question, I went from being an epidemiologist, the big word for the pandemic. We got the degree in 1977 from the University of Michigan, very scientific, analytical, diagnostic, medical, statistical, demographic, the heavy stuff. I was in a plane crash in 1981, became psychic. And that's not something Google because the internet didn't hit until 1996. So in between, I had to figure out what was going on. A lot of change, a lot of growth, a lot of fear, a lot of anxiety. My career, I couldn't go back to public health, but I knew something had changed. I ended up in radio, bypassed 2 music deals, kept going forward with this push of passion for God, spirituality, the unknown, but to help. I was saved in the plane crash for a purpose, but I didn't know it back then. It took me 12 years to figure it out. Fast forward, got into radio, spent over 20 years on AM, FM, what we call terrestrial, and then I moved to satellite. Now it's on the internet, but I've been a broadcaster, whatever, with God, talking about spirituality. But through the time of my broadcasting, I evolved in business. And what I learned dealing with producers, directors, program directors, different companies for sponsorship, getting trained in a spiritual candle mind, I kept evolving. But I had to keep up with the business and the attitude. And there were a lot of people that dissed me, criticized me, took advantage of me. I kept going. And I kept going. And I developed my own business. I am an S-Corp of the state of California for 24 years. I am recognized in business. I have a business attitude. I have a brain for business. And I'm also female, so I could be taken advantage of, or I could be vulnerable, or I could be cranky, or I could be, moody. But the spirit of business and how I apply it, a lot of times I'm a psychic, so I read people, and if they're giving you a hard time, I'll pull something out of thin air that makes it sting. So I use my gift as a tool, but I don't always say what I want, but I get what I need. I probably turn down 3-4 magazines a week, and I'm not paying you $1,600 on my face on a piece of magazine that's going to end up on a shelf and nobody calls me. There's no ROI. What do you mean ROI? Because they don't even know what return of investment means. It's like, why should I pay you if I get nothing out of it? I'm teaching the solicitors. Yes, I was in a plane crash. It took 6 years to recuperate. It was a life-altering experience. I was out of my body for 4 months. There was no Google. There was no one to talk to. Part of me was like a cyclops, 50 feet out of my body for 4 months, and the other stood at 5 feet 8. Yes, I'm 71 years old. Yes, I have the energy of a 30-year-old or more. Because I keep going, I have faith, I've developed, I've tripped and fallen, I've been abused, I've been knocked down because of my psychic abilities, or why aren't you an epidemiologist, or, you hear it all. And it's like I was driven, I had a passion. And we all can relate because we all have stories of challenge and highs and lows and love and hatred and loss and death and illness and money and power, prestige, and then you're either God or COD, you're up and down. I'm dedicating tonight to my father, who was just put on hospice Monday. He's 95 years old. I'm 71, which is what.
Let's give Dr. Salvin a huge round of applause. Dr. Salvin, we've had 2 amazing days.
Yes, we have, Roll.
I have a lot of questions to ask. First of all, you're looking very beautiful.
Thank you very much. Feel good to hear that.
So tell us, how has the whole experience been the past 2 days? You've been part of 2 different panel discussions, spoken to 2 very different sets of people, gave 2 very inspiring keynotes. So tell us, how has the whole feeling been for you?
Overwhelming, intimidated, like I'm the star, like I'm something special. And I get a picture. I know what that's like because I've done it too. I remember in Dubai when you said, I was the most humble. And I am. I've gone through the ego. I've gone through the fear. I've gone through bypassing relationships out of my fear. There was a guy who wanted to marry me back in the 80s, and I actually wrote him in 2018 to say, I didn't reject you out of not loving you. I rejected you out of fearing you because I was so drawn to it. I understand the interaction. I've broken through all that. And tonight and last night, the keynotes, the dress, the makeup, the people, the connections. I know who I don't connect with. I know who I'm madly connected to. I've worked 30 plus years banging my head against the wall in the United States to convince people this is real. And here it's like, yeah, okay, what else you got to say? I'm like,
So you're not having a good day today.
sucks.
I know. Your dad's in hospice. It's been bothering you.
It's bothering the hell out of me.
And I know that I remember you sent me a photo of him when you met him to show him your award and how proud he was of you.
That was in December.
That was in December. And then, so
January he fell.
he felt sick. And then,
Broke his hip and he broke his wrist. He's been in the hospital and 7 different locations since, and now he doesn't. My father fell on my birthday, my 71st birthday, January 12th. He fell and broke his hip and his wrist, and they operated on January 14th, 2 days later. Story is he fell that day. There's some mix-up. And he has only been home 2 weeks since then because he was in the hospital, he was in rehab, he went back to the hospital, then they put him in a nursing home, then he had to go back to the hospital, then he was put into what he calls the storage bin, like it's the warehouse where you end up. He said, never put me in a warehouse. And I told him, I said, Dad, you're in the warehouse, which was a memory care facility. And we worked real hard to get him home because I knew how depressed he was. And he's still depressed, but he sleeps about 22 hours a day now. He's on his way out. And I saw him Saturday before I left to come here on my Monday or Wednesday I arrived. But he looks like a corpse in Auschwitz. And this is a man, as you've heard, traveled the world like I am, built a business with my mom, took him everywhere. India was a big distributorship, decades. And we end up in a way that you never know. And I started crying when I saw my dad, not knowing if I would see him when I get back. And then I went to lunch and I said, Maria, I got to pull it together no matter what. I said, I can't cancel. I'm under contract. I want to do this. I'm going to not let it, I can't stop living. I cannot stop living. And I remember from my dad, when my mother died 16 years ago, and after a few months he started dating. I said, what are you doing? He goes, under life goes on. You got to live. And I could just go on with the grief. Everybody deals differently. But I remember those words. And there was a moment I was going to cancel this trip to stay home. And I thought, he would want me to go on.
are you afraid?
Here.
Are you afraid that when you get back and he's not going to be able to see you?
I thought about it.
You're not going to be able to
I
see him?
told him, you either die before I go, or you wait till I get back. You do not get to die while I'm in India. And he said, okay, I'll wait. And then he closed his eyes. Knowing him, he'll be there. But when I saw a picture tonight, it brought me to tears. And some of the people, like this wonderful singer, Ahmad, was sensitive enough. He goes, are you okay? Which is why he wanted to talk. because he saw the emotional side, not just the professional, let's have a party, let's entertain. Because I do feel, we all do. But I saw a picture that, and started thinking, he's not here. He doesn't know. And I think we all want validation, like you said. Everybody wants the pat on the back. Oh my God, thank you, Abdini. Thank you, Raul. Thank you, Forttuna. You hear it all the time. Everybody's so grateful for what you've created. And sometimes it's not enough. You hear it, you feel it, we want to do more. I hear it, I feel it. And this is one thing I don't get to share, but you're giving me the validation. The doctors, the other award winners, the business people. I'm getting back because I've given.
Okay, we're going to change the topic.
Yeah, I think so.
You look vivacious. You look ravishing. So I'm going to pass it on to Aditi. I'm going to give her all the credit for making you look like a diva. Aditi, I'm sure you have a lot of questions to ask.
So, Dr. Salvin, how did you love the best? How was black saree?
The black saree was sexy, fun. I felt feminine because I wear jeans most of the time. But I wear dresses, but when Raul sent me the pictures in February, and this is now May, even though you're not supposed to date your recordings, but I am. I thought, oh my God, they're putting me in this. And I showed people, look what they want me to wear. Because we're all overwhelmed. You don't see this walking around LA unless you're in the culture. And there are pockets of the Indian culture, but I never worn a saree. I didn't even know that it was one piece of material. I didn't know this. I didn't know it was like a bedspread. I didn't know. So yesterday,
You said it was a curtain the first time you saw it.
well,
Yeah.
but no, there's a sexy, feminine, powerful, where I want to stand up straight, where I want to shut off, where the beauty about the saris, whether you're overweight and hippie, or you're skinny, or you're huge, it's okay for any woman to feel good dressed in this. And I noticed giving awards or having the photos taken. Yes, looking at the camera, but I was studying the fabric, I was studying the colors, I was studying the texture, I was studying the different draping because I learned today. There's a spirit, there's a energy, there's a, I don't know, maybe I'll just move to India. I'm not going to.
I would love to see you in
We'd
India.
love to see you. So, Dr. Salvin, what about the butterflies? Why do you love butterflies so much?
Why do I love butterflies? I started when I was 4 years old in nursery school. I played a butterfly during the school play, and my parents were there, and I came out with my little butterfly wings. I couldn't find my parents. You know, when you're a kid, you're looking, and I finally saw my parents, and I flapped my little wings. And then after I got out of grad school, something drew me to a butterfly necklace, which I still have. And as I started looking for God, what is God? Who is God? Where do I find God? I came across this poem that's Sanskrit from the year 1200. And I can say it anytime because I researched it. It's not copywritten, so I have it in my TV infomercial on my Weeks of Wisdom. It's on my website. And on the radio, which I spent over 25 years, and even now, when I have clients and they're confused or they can't find God and they don't know religion or there's whatever, I'll say, let me teach you how I found God. And I say, look, I'm Jewish. It has nothing to do with religion. It's the flow, it's spirituality, it's life. And the way to see it is this poem that says, God, are you real? It's the child, it's on my website. We filmed an 11-year-old at the time, he recited it. It says, God, are you real? God, talk to me. And the meadowlark sang, but the child did not hear, so the child said, God, speak to me. And the thunder rolled across the sky, but the child did not listen, so the child said, God, speak to me. And a star shone brightly, but the child did not see. So the child said, God, show me a miracle. And a child was born, but the child did not know. So the child said, touch me, God, show me you're real. Whereupon God reached down and touched the child, but the child brushed the butterfly away and walked away unknowing it. And I got it. The stars, the moon, and a baby being born, a butterfly. It's just the universe. We're all part of this universe. And when my mother died in 2009, I was walking my dog, And I live in a suburban, I was living in a very suburban neighborhood. And all of this, I had been waiting at least a month, like, Mom, show me you're there. Show me you're with Grandma. Show me you're with Aunt Dorothy. Give me a sign. And I'm walking the dog, and there was a white butterfly. And then I heard, there's another one. And I went around the block, and I saw two. And I said, oh, come on, all three of you. And I went around the block again. The next corner, there was the third white butterfly. But the white butterflies had been popping up in my world ever since I really started getting into the poem. I'm confused. What bank should I change to? And a butterfly went by my windshield. It's like, I am going to the right bank. Or it's like with him showing up at the breakfast place today at the restaurant, I call it a butterfly moment. Like, what brings us together? Why, after 4 deletes of your emails, did I finally have that butterfly moment where I said, oh, wait, I'll find out. And who knew? This is like my butterfly moment. This is how I teach people to watch the flow. I didn't make it up. Dr. Carl Jung would be in India on a train watching the dolphins jump out at the same time. That's where the word synchronicity and metaphysics began in our generation. Socrates, Hippocrates, they've all done it. It's, like I said tonight, it's now our time.